The right understanding is the responsibility of the student. That your true self is not your body, it's not your mind, it's not your emotions, it's something beyond. When you experience the truth, you are a Jnani. When you teach the truth, you are a Prajnani. Your life is equal to your thoughts plus your words plus your deeds. Your spiritual progress reflects in your Ananda. The enlightenment journey is the art of listening, my dear friends. While there is enlightenment in listening to your own voice, there is greater enlightenment in listening to others' journey. My dear friends, in this 21 days sequence, the primary agenda is to have a strong discipline that you get up early in the morning and you do intense meditation. This is a process of self-discipline where you discipline yourself for your own betterment. That is the primary agenda. And along with that, acquiring of knowledge and experimenting in your life. Whatever the knowledge you have acquired, you contemplate it, you put it in practice so that the knowledge becomes your wisdom. The theory aspect is the knowledge, the practical outcome is wisdom. Knowledge becomes wisdom only with the practice. So whatever you hear, whatever you listen, whatever you understand, you have to implement it. You have to remember it. You have to make it part of your understanding of life. So that is why I emphasize write it down. Whatever the important points you hear, you write it down. When you hear intensely, attentively, it goes into yourself to a certain level. But when you write it down, your understanding becomes deeper. When you put it in practice, then your understanding becomes much more deeper. When you share to your friends, family members, your understanding, then your understanding becomes much more deeper. So it is important, whatever the knowledge you have acquired, you discuss it, you share it, you teach to your family members, friends, colleagues, to all your well-wishers. The more you share, the more your own understanding becomes deeper. Because when you share, they will ask certain questions. So then your own experience, your own understanding, your own examples comes out. So with that, your own understanding deepens. The first step is listening. You have to listen very attentively. The second step is, after you have listened, contemplate within yourself what makes sense, what is right, what you understood, what you have not understood, in which dimension the teacher has said this. What is the viewpoint of the teacher too when he said that? In different situations, he says different things. The same subject, but different people, he is giving different examples. Which one is right? If this one is right, what about this? Or if everything is right? If everything is right, then what is the right way to summarize it? So you have to use your intellect to analyze whatever you listen. You should not blindly accept it. You should analyze it first. You should use your own buddhi. You should use your own intellect and intelligence to analyze it, to compare it, to verify. And then whatever is your conclusion of understanding, that you put it in practice. There are certain things you may not understand. So that is when you have an opportunity to ask questions and clarify and fine-tune your understanding. That is the difference between when you are following a teacher who is no more in the body, you cannot ask for fine-tuning. For example, when you're reading a book, you cannot fine-tune your understanding by asking the author directly, because author is no more or is not available. So that is the greatest advantage of Guru Sangatya. The greatest advantage of Guru Sangatya is your understanding gets fine-tuned. If your understanding is not fine-tuned, then you are in the wrong understanding. With the wrong understanding, then naturally you will have consequences which you don't deserve, which you don't want. The right understanding is the responsibility of the student. You write it. Because the teacher will say in so many point of views, you have not yet reached that level. So you have to make every effort to understand and fine-tune. Fine-tuning of your understanding is important. Never conclude just on the face value. Analyze it deeply. Investigate. You have to underline the word investigate. Investigate into the things. The more you investigate into your own understanding, the more your knowledge expands. And whatever the knowledge you have acquired, when you put it in practice, then that turns into wisdom. In Sanskrit, we call it as Jnana. Jnana means wisdom. In the enlightenment journey, there are 3 stages. So in which stage you are in, you can understand. The first stage, where you realize through your own sadhana, through your own practical experience, through your own meditation, you understand that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are pure consciousness. That is a basic enlightenment. The basic enlightenment is your own practical experience of realizing your true self. You realize your true self, that your true self is not your body, it's not your mind, it's not your emotions, it's something beyond. You are pure energy, you are pure consciousness. There is no identity. Your true self has no identity. It is a pure consciousness, it's a pure witness, and it is eternal in nature. There is no death for your true self. While there is death for the body, there is no death for your true self. This practical realization, what we call it in simple words as self-realization, is a basic enlightenment. So one who reached that particular state of understanding, that particular state of realization, is called a Vijnani, a self-realized person. So that is the first stage in the enlightenment. Now, the second stage in the enlightenment, which generally we call it as enlightenment after enlightenment. So after the first stage, all the other stages is all enlightenment after enlightenment. Now the second stage is a stage where he understands not only about himself, but he understands his surroundings as well. He understands that everybody is pure consciousness. He understands that what is inside him is also inside the plants, is also inside the animals, is also inside every human being. Now he is heading into prajnana. The first stage is jnana, the second stage is prajnana. We call him as prajnani. A prajnani is one who has experienced the oneness, who has experienced the God consciousness. We can call it as oneness or God consciousness, where he realizes the Aham Brahmasmi. He experiences the Aham Brahmasmi. Aham means the essence, his own essence, is the essence of the whole creation. So in the first stage, it's only pure sadhana. In the second stage, it is not only sadhana, but along with sadhana, reading a lot of enlightened masters' journey, a lot of reading spiritual books. Now he is understanding the same truth from many, many, many dimensions, from different point of view. So in the second stage, along with meditation, comes Swadhyaya. While he understood the basic truth in the first stage, in the second stage, he wants to understand the same truth in different points of view. He wants to understand the journey of every enlightened master, because his path of enlightenment is unique. But there are so many masters who have attained enlightenment in their own respective paths. So he wants to understand that point of view. So the more he reads other masters' journey, the more he understands that he doesn't know anything. In the first stage, he thinks he knows everything. In the second stage, he perfectly knows that he doesn't know anything. So that's when he becomes a prajnani. So he becomes more humble. There is no spiritual ego. He understands it is an eternal journey. This journey of enlightenment is eternal. Life is eternal. Enlightenment journey is also eternal. So in the first stage, the focus is on meditation and reading certain books. But in the first stage, your understanding is limited. But in the second stage, your understanding deepens, where along with meditation, the emphasis is on reading books and also on teaching. When you experience the truth, you are a jnani. When you teach the truth, you are a prajnani. Experiencing of the truth makes you an enlightened person. Teaching the truth makes you a greater enlightened person. So the more and more you teach, the more and more you are called a prajnani. Now, one takes many, many lifetimes in each stages. It's not a one lifetime affair. It's lifetimes of affairs. So in each stage, you might take many lifetimes. And then the third stage of enlightenment, where you are called a Vijnani. So what is the difference between Prajnani and Vijnani? Vijnani is highest enlightenment. So in the third stage, the teaching is not limited to one location, one state, one country. The teaching is spread all over the world. He travels all over the world and teaches all the people. Because in the second stage only he has attained the oneness consciousness. Now for him, the whole world is one family. whatever the country he goes, he becomes one among them, and he will start inspiring and teaching the truth. So the teaching expands. The third stage. In the second stage, the teaching has started. In the third stage, the teaching is to the highest. His expansion of the teaching is highest. It's not only limited to any geographical location. His teaching is all over the world. Imagine if you want to teach the Indian community, you have to have Indian references and Indian examples. So if you want to teach Greek people, you have to have Greek references. If you want to teach the Chinese people, you have to have the Chinese references. If you want to teach the European, American, African, then you have to have respective references. You want to teach Arabic, Islamic, then you have to have that references. So now he's teaching all over the world. So he has the greater jnana. It is Vijnani. So while he travels around the world, he teaches. He is connected to the greatest wisdom, the greatest truth, absolute truth. And most importantly, he is in the research. He is no more contained with the affairs of the planet Earth. Now he works with other dimensions. He works with other star systems. So that stage is called stellar enlightenment, where you are working not only in the physical space, the physical dimension of the Earth, you are working in other dimensions in the galaxies. You become an intergalactic traveler. In simple terms, we call it a stellar enlightenment. You become an expert in the research field, where you research what happens after death, where they go, what are the astral worlds, what are the mental worlds, what are the causal worlds, what are the supracausal worlds, how the setup is, what exactly is the journey. So he's into the research. And once you get into the research, it is an eternal thing. So that stage, what we call it as the highest stage of enlightenment, we call it as a Vijnani. But it starts with you experiencing your true self. That is the first stage, first step. Self-realization is first. Then comes self-mastery, oneness. Then you become a student of research. You become a researcher in the enlightenment science, in the spiritual science. So this we call it as enlightenment after enlightenment. So don't think it is a one lifetime affair. It is lifetimes of it. And don't think your enlightenment journey stops after you finish the syllabus on the planet Earth. Once you finish the school, you have to go to college. You go to other dimensions to continue your research. You become a co-creator. Before, you were teaching only people on the planet Earth. Now you go teach people on all the other star systems also. So it is an eternal journey. It's a beautiful journey. So this is the bigger picture. It is important you understand the macro view, and it is also important you focus on the micro. The more you understand the macro, the more you will focus on the micro. The macro view is important, and the micro view is also equally important. Whatever we discuss now is the macro view, right? Jnani, Pragnani, Vijnani, enlightenment, oneness, research, stellar enlightenment. All these are macro view. What is micro view? Micro view is how you need to take care of yourself today while you are in the physical body. What food you should eat, how you should think, how you should speak, how you should have healthy relationships, how you should do your work, how to think, how to speak, how to do work. That is micro. Imagine you have only macro view. Okay, you read some books or you heard some classes, and then you understand the micro view. Theoretically, you understand the macro view, and then you think you know everything. Then you are into a great spiritual illusion. Your understanding of the macro view should reflect in your micro. You write down this point. This is true spirituality. Your understanding of the enlightenment, your true understanding of the enlightenment should reflect in your micro aspect of life. As above, so below. Your understanding of the truth reflects in how you live your life on the planet Earth right now. Today, how you live your life. Today, how you think. Today, how you speak. Today, how you act. That reflects your understanding of truth. So since we understood the macro view, now let us come to the micro. When it comes to the day-to-day life, the important aspects are your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. These are the three areas you need to focus on. This is the micro. Micro means very detailed view, minute focus. Focus on a very small portion of your life, but important, because micro reflects your macro. Generally, when we call it as the human life, people ask, how are you? How is your life? What this simply means is, How is your life? Your life depends on your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. Your life is equal to your thoughts plus your words plus your deeds. That is your life. Your thoughts and your words and your actions is nothing but your life. So you have to reflect what kind of thoughts you have, what kind of words you speak, whether your words are motivating to yourself and motivating to others, or your words are demotivating yourself and demotivating others. Is your thoughts negative thoughts, positive thoughts, or miraculous thoughts? Is your actions helping you progress and your actions are helping you and helping others? Or your actions are creating some harm to others? So it is your actions are hurting others and in return it is hurting yourself. Or your actions are empowering others and empowering yourself. So what kind of thoughts, words, and actions? That defines your life. So we call it as the field of thoughts, the field of words, and the field of actions. Now this defines your karma yoga. Your karma is not only related to your actions, it relates to your thoughts, your words, and actions. Understanding karma yoga is nothing but understanding life. While you are in Raja Yoga means simply means meditation. So while you are in Raja Yoga and Jnana Yoga, you acquire the knowledge. So while you are in Raja Yoga and Jnana Yoga, but the end result is in Karma Yoga. How much jnana you have, how much meditation you have done, how many books you have read, how much truth you have understood, reflects in your karma, reflects in your karma yoga. This is practical spirituality. So when it comes to understanding in this spiritual journey, where I am right now, what I have to do next to progress in life. Progression in life reflects in your happiness. How can you say that you are progressing? Depends on your happiness. The more you are happy in life, the more you are contented in life, the more you are peaceful, contented, happy. That means you are progressing. You are in the right direction. Your spiritual progress reflects in your ananda. Are you in Brahmananda? If you are in Brahmananda, then you are highly enlightened. Or you are happy only on the body level, mind level, or you are happy in the body, mind, soul level. If you are happy on the body level, then it is simple, basic happiness. If you are happy on the mind level, then it is joy, because that is your state of mind. So happiness is momentary, but joy is prolonged. So that is your state of mind. Your joy defines your state of mind. Your bliss defines your soul. Bliss is the highest. So there is happiness and there is joy and there is bliss. While happiness and joy relates to your body mind, bliss relates to your state of consciousness. Bliss relates to your Atma, soul. You need to have all the three: happiness, joy, bliss. All the three should be there. When you are operating from your body mind point of view, you are celebrating your life. When you are seeing certain aspects, when you are experiencing certain aspects, when you are contemplating certain aspects from the soul point of view, you are in a blissful state. So, what is that you have to do the right things where you are right now, and what you have to do to progress in your own evolution so that you can be a little more happier. Right now, you are in Ananda. You want to experience Brahmananda. Brahma means great. Right now, you are experiencing moments of bliss. But how can you sustain that blissful experience? How can you get into that blissful state at will? You are going through life challenges. Okay, you are learning certain lessons. That is fine. But how can I best utilize my time on the planet Earth? You are acquiring knowledge. How can I speed enough to acquire more jnana? How can I be the best version? Anyway, I'm living my life. But how can I live to the best possible extent, to the greatest possible extent? So this requires a lot of self-reflection. In which stage I am in now? What should I do next? Am I in the right journey? You have to introspect and reflect every day. So this is where Swadhyaya, Sajjana Sangatya, or Guru Sangatya comes into the place. The teacher will be teaching the same subject again and again, but you have to listen. Even though you know it, you have to listen again and again. The more you listen, the more the self-reflection happens. The first time you listen, your understanding is only superficial. So when you listen to it again and again, your understanding deepens. There is great enlightenment in listening. Sometimes people ask, our own core team members will ask, how do you have so much patience to listen to everybody's journey? How do you have so much patience that people are asking the same questions and you are replying with same patience? We get bored and we get irritated also. But how come you have so much patience? The answer is very simple. There is nothing great in speaking, but your greatness is in listening. The more you listen, the more you are becoming from a jnani to pragnani, from a pragnani to a vijnani. So it is in the listening your enlightenment deepens. The enlightenment journey is the art of listening, my dear friends. You need to listen to your own self. You need to listen to your own inner voice. You need to understand yourself. Your understanding comes from your listening. Listen to your inner voice. Listen to what your soul is guiding you, and listen to others' experiences. While there is enlightenment in listening to your own voice, there is greater enlightenment in listening to others' journey, others' enlightenment journey. Greater enlightenment is listening to others' enlightenment journey. Underline this. The more you help others, the more you support others in their journey, the more you are helping yourself in your journey. Teaching is the best way of learning. To be a great teacher, you need to be a great listener. If you don't listen, how can you teach? So there are three areas where you need to focus on to make sure that you are not stuck in your journey. The first is ignorance. The second is laziness. And the third is arrogance. These are the three important areas you need to be always focused so that you don't get stuck. First is ignorance, I repeat. Second is laziness. And third is arrogance. Laziness comes at every stage of life. Even after getting enlightened, you go through laziness. That is spiritual laziness. Spiritual laziness that you feel that I know everything, or I know what is needed for life, I already know. That is spiritual laziness. I have meditated a lot in my life. Now my purpose is to teach, not to meditate. That is again spiritual laziness. I have read all the books in my shelf. I don't need to read it again. That is ignorance. Why it is ignorance? You have read the book 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, your understanding is different. Now you have a deeper understanding. When you read the same book, you have much more greater enlightenment. You know the subject, but you have to listen to the subject again and again. So there is a deeper understanding. So that is the ignorance part. And arrogance is the end result of ignorance and laziness. While this theoretical understanding is very, very important, one goes through ups and downs in their life. Once everybody, every single seeker of truth, they fall in the pit and then they learn the lessons the hard way. See, life teaches you the lessons. Life teaches you the lessons in the most beautiful way. If you are intelligent, if you are smart, you will learn it with humbleness. If not, the nature, the existence knows how to teach you. So teaching is there. Whether you want to learn in the nice way or whether you want to learn in the hard way, it's your free will, it's your choice. The fastest learning happens when you are in the Guru Sangat, because the Guru is there to guide you. There is a pitfall. Avoid the pitfall. So the Guru's job is to make sure your time and energy is not wasted. The very intention of the guidance of the Guru is to make sure your time and energy is not wasted, so that your journey speeds up. So that is the significance of Guru Sangat, where you are guided in the right time. A stitch in time saves 9. So what you have to learn in one lifetime, if you are lazy, if you are ignorant, if you are arrogant, you will take 9 lifetimes. And you will learn it in the hardest way possible. Right? So you have to be aware of your own laziness, your own ignorance and arrogance. Your focus should be on the righteousness. You are aware of your own laziness so that you are not lazy. You are aware of your own ignorance so that you are not ignorant. You're always open-minded. While you are aware of your own arrogance so that you keep your arrogance under check. Sometimes there is, you let go of the ego. You think you have let go of the ego. Then you enter the spiritual ego. Because still you are identified. Your ego is nothing but your identifications. So you get identified with your physical nature. You let go of the identities of the physical. Now you are identified with your spiritual aspects of life. So you have to let go of the spiritual egos. You have to become a simple man, a common man. Spiritual ego happens because you feel special. Whenever you feel special, you are in spiritual ego. In the God's creation, nobody is special. Everybody is special. So while your focus is on being aware of these aspects, your greater attention should be given to the righteousness, Dharma, in other words. So we'll discuss more about the righteousness, and we will fine-tune our understanding of the field of thoughts, words, and actions in tomorrow's session. Thank you very much. Namaste.